Introducing Instagram teen accounts. A new way to keep your teen safer as they grow. Like making sure they always have their seatbelt on.
All right, sweetie pie, buckle up. Good job.
Or ring the bell on their bike.
Okay, kid, give it a try. Nice.
Or remember their elbow pads.
Knees too, okay? Yep. There you go.
New Instagram teen accounts. Automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1072, May 5th, 2023. 89 degrees was the record high on this day. That was in the year 2000. It was 27 degrees. That's chilly, as recently as 1989. Beautiful full moon tonight. The Lakota would call that the planting moon. And yes, I have ice outs. This is the last day of ice outs. You fishermen want to get out there and start fishing, go to ripplelipuniversity.com. They have an amazing app that helps you set up, tweak, and dial in your Humminbird, Garmin, or Lowrance Marine Electronics through their app. Visit Ripple Lip. You know, it's hardly fair to the fish, isn't it? Visit ripplelipuniversity.com. This is the final day of ice outs. Ice out. And listen to this for you climate change hysterians who don't really understand yet that the climate change hysteria has nothing to do with the climate. The ice went out on Minnetonka on this day in 1857, right?
1857. Okay.
And in 2018.
That's the door closing.
We're closing on that lid.
We're done.
Put another nail in that
coffin. Will he be back for another year of ice outs?
He better.
I hope so. Tell you the truth.
If you want a lake home, the ice is out, you want to get ready for swimming, call Aquaside. Aquaside has been helping people maintain great lake shores for more than 60 years with their equipment, their products. Their products are easy to use and begin working quickly. They're registered with the EPA and DNR, and Aquaside products are completely safe for you, your family, and the fish you're going to check because you keep checking your ripplelipuniversity.com app. Don't let weeds overtake your lake or pond this summer. Keep that swimming area crystal clear. Call Aquaside today. They'll identify your weed problem. Make sure your place looks great all summer long. Call Aquaside at White Bear Lake Company. Call Aquaside at 1-800-328-9350 or go to aquaside.com.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your Flashlight King, Fireworks Commissioner, and the Keeper of Common Sense, your Mayor, Joe Soucheray.
May I start with the musings of Fred Larson?
The musings of Fred Larson.
Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
Mm-hmm. Starting spring field work on our western Wisconsin farm, and that always gives me ample windshield time in a tractor to think. I would like to attempt an amateur link, my first with the mayor's permission. You may proceed. As we all ponder what is happening both socially and politically in this country, it seems to me that the stigmas of both shame and embarrassment have been erased. I hesitate a bit here because I believe that nobody should carry these around forever, but a little of them go a long way deterring people from doing incredibly stupid things without being ridiculed. Look at politicians these days on both sides of the aisle. They have no qualms about making outlandish proposals that would have been widely ridiculed just a few years ago. not to mention bad behavior, poor manners, and social decorum. Of course, these behaviors are routinely dismissed by the perpetrators by citing their outrage or strong feelings about whichever subject is in question. A little humility in the shape of a shame or embarrassment would go a long way in curbing this behavior. This lack of shame has not only affected the average citizen, but has definitely invaded our state houses and even our national offices. Instead, in many circles, especially activist circles, which is a word I suggest be submitted for the foghorn list, is celebrated. On a more lighthearted note, I was at the grocery store checkout line a couple of weeks ago with my wife when the young guy bagging our groceries lightly inquired if we had any big plans for the summer.
All right.
He was a pleasant enough young guy, but I immediately thought of Kenny and his standard response of mind your own business, but quickly improvised and said, "Why? Do you want to come along?" This caught both he and my wife off guard. Made my wife laugh, which isn't easy for me to do. So I got that going for me, which is nice. See you at the fair, Fred. I bring that up because I'm comforted to know that there's more Freds in this country than we ever acknowledge. There's more Freds out there and Frederikas behind the windshield of a tractor or working at the John Deere factory or building it. They know that the mystery's a bad thing. They just know it in their gut. And they do the best they can to fight it and to push back. And there was Fred doing such a thing.
Okay.
Well,
And then get routinely ignored every election.
Yep.
we're going to have an exercise today, a class exercise coming up. Well, Gary has some thoughts, too. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
I didn't think that was enthusiastic.
Hail you.
Hail you.
Joe, we are constantly hectored by the global warming crowd. Well, they're not worried about global warming. That movement has nothing to do with the climate. Joe, we are constantly hectored by the global warming crowd, warning that vast structures of coastline, as well as islands, are going to be swallowed up by rising seas. There was an article this past Sunday in the Star Tribune. I have to say right here, Gary's about the 10th person who wanted me to be aware of that article. I did read it last Sunday. I just didn't bother to ever bring it up. Last Sunday called, "Why Did the Vikings Vanish from Greenland?" It turns out that the Vikings were driven from their coastal outpost due to flooding. This outpost existed from about 985 to 1450 A.D. Back around that time, the sea level had risen by more than 10 feet over prior centuries. Yet we are told that mankind is responsible for the rising sea levels today. Well, you're not. I guess it turns out the culprit all along must have been our Mother Earth, pushing back now more than ever. Gary Liebman and Egan. I hope more and more people understand that the climate change movement has nothing to do with the climate.
I tore that article out. It's on the table behind me. Would you like me to read it to you word for word?
No, it's too long.
Okay.
But it's true. The Vikings are up there in Greenland, and not our team.
No. Because they would have lost in the playoffs.
They would have. They would have lost to the ice.
Right.
Right. And they, all of a sudden, their boats were above them. Mm-hmm. They had to climb up to the boats.
They said, what's going on here?
Well, the oceans were rising.
Well, and you said you hope more and more people are awakened to that. But I think they are. Remember around election time last year, people in the state were listing that as about the 15th most important topic to them.
Because it's not even a topic. It's made up out of whole cloth.
Right.
Jordy has a good point. He's taking bets. This is really a good point. How long before environmentalists start attacking EVs?
Wow.
Don't underestimate the importance of the fact that the automobile symbolizes freedom and mobility, something vitally important for socialists to destroy or control. Banning the gasoline-fueled vehicles and replacing them with limited-range electrics is a step in that direction. The ability to build in technology to turn them off on command, or the ability of limiting the fuel supply, is another essential element in their plans. Good luck, Jordy.
On that note, I meant to give this to you the other day, and I forgot, but you just reminded me of it. This was supplied to us by loyal GLer Flushing Metropolitans on Twitter.
Right.
It's a repair bill from a Chevy dealership in West Palm Beach by the name of Roger Dean Chevrolet. This is how much it costs to replace a battery on an EV Chevrolet Volt.
All right.
Would you guys care to guess?
Where is this from?
This was sent to the GL account.
Well, by an emailer?
No, by a tweeter.
Has it been sussed
I
out?
really tried to harp on you that you don't get your news from Twitter.
But
I'm
just can't.
already wary.
All right.
I want to hear.
Next
But
topic.
but you asked the question, and I want to throw in a guess: $8,769.34.
And this is from what dealership?
Roger Dean Chevrolet, which I did verify exists in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Roger Dean Chevrolet in West Palm Beach, Florida. And do we know the type of the make? It's a Chevy, but what
God,
model?
weren't you listening? Just give us the price.
It's
Come
an
on.
EV Chevrolet Volt.
Is this
Oh,
like the
Volt,
Price is
I'm
Right?
sorry, a
Where
Volt.
I can't go over.
I know a guy who owns a Volt. Big O, and he loves it, but he's a technology guy, so
Kenny,
he
I'm
gets it.
with you.
Oh my God!
Okay, Chris, what did it cost?
You didn't guess.
Oh, what was Kenny?
9,000.
8,500?
Yep.
8,600 something. I think. I don't know.
Chevy Volt.
I'm 9,000.
12,200.
The coolant wasn't bad. The coolant was $33.95.
What coolant?
What do you need coolant
That's
for?
what it's just.
Well,
this is described in the bill.
This is why Twitter
Shop
upsets me.
supplies
Gotta
were
have coolant.
$41.50. The battery, gentlemen, was $28,853.99.
I don't believe that.
Jumping
And I'll tell you why I
Jehoshaphat.
don't believe it. That's about what a Volt costs.
Okay.
I mean, no, I'm sure a Volt costs more than 28 grand, but not that much more. I don't believe that. I mean, as much as I think EVs are government cars, and I couldn't be more opposed to them for a variety of reasons, I find it hard to believe. And Rookie, you could be, flashing those fat fingers of yours over the keyboard.
I am
and find
on-
out why, if that could even be true.
I'm on it.
Or if you'd let me finish, because I had that part
There's
also
more. Hang
up
on.
here.
Hold on. There's more.
There's several different makes and models of EV battery replacement. And it can range from anywhere from $5,000 up to $31,000.
I say we call the dealership.
That's a Volkswagen, Tesla, Chevrolet Volt, Hyundai Ioniq, BMW i3, Chevrolet Bolt, and a Nissan Leaf.
I don't doubt that battery replacement is ridiculously expensive.
Battery.
I do doubt that it costs 28 grand to put a battery in a Volt.
Would it also depend on how old the model is?
I don't
things
know,
like that?
but that's just outrageous. Could we call the dealership?
Do we have to?
Well, do you want to leave this unattended? Do you want to leave this?
Kind of.
I mean, we're fact-based. That's not plausible.
Okay. I am pulling up that dealership's service department right now.
Right.
Okay. I don't know that I'll have it instantly, but
Right now.
I will do some investigation for
Chevy
you.
Volt battery replacement cost. That's what I'm clicking on right now.
Yeah.
And it sends me to a sponsor that doesn't just give you the. Why doesn't it just say how much it is?
Call Maurer.
Okay.
Call Maurer Chev. Tell him who you are.
It's really hard to find the price here because it might be that costly.
I can be silent as long as it takes for this to happen. I
that's
just
what it's
want
gonna be.
quickness here.
This is what I'm telling you.
Oh. No, let's not do that.
What?
Let's call Mike Schoonover.
Yes, quickly. Call Mike Schoonover. All I want to know is that plausible that a Volt battery is 28 grand. That's all I want to know. And he's been dealing with this. I'm sure they've gotten vehicles in that are EVs that require battery replacements due to damage or whatever.
Can you come on with us for 2 minutes?
Is that him?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yes, he is.
Mike?
Hey, Joe.
Mike,
We're on the show, so don't be using any of them cuss words.
He's talking to Joe.
Reavers just read a tweet, which always alerts my alarm bells. I don't take my news from Twitter. But there's a Chevrolet dealership in Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
Fred Dean?
Roger Dean
Chevrolet. And a guy sent us the bill for a battery replacement in a Chevy Volt. Are you with me so far?
I am.
$28,000. That strikes me as not plausible.
That is probably accurate, Joe. That's not the first time I've heard that. So, yeah, that's a very expensive repair bill. And then what happens to that battery when it's pulled out?
Well, if that's a Chevy Volt, what in the hell is a battery going to cost on a Mercedes-Benz?
That's a good question. You know what? Hey, I'll do some research for you, okay?
Please, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll do some
Thanks, I appreciate you doing my job, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. Is that Rook?
Yeah.
Rook,
Yeah.
I know better.
Call us back if at your convenience.
You got it.
All
Copy
right,
that.
thank you.
Those same short little fat fingers that were supposed to work the keyboard to find out the cost, our mole Zip has sent me the app. This is according to RepairPal.com. Chevrolet Bolt EV Hybrid High Voltage Battery Replacement Cost Estimate. The average cost estimate for a high voltage battery is $19,684 and $19,753.
And that's a hybrid, you said.
Yeah.
Did you read the word hybrid?
Hybrid.
Which means the battery wouldn't be as big as an all EV battery.
And I will say, in my defense, the reason I trusted this, Joe, is the Chevy dealership that I use to change my oil things. It looks exactly like this bill that I saw. That's why I thought it was authentic.
Well, you're preaching to the choir. You'll never catch me owning one of these government cars.
But, okay, at what point is it even worth it to replace the battery?
That's like the battery on your DeWalt, your drill.
Yeah.
You go to buy one and you realize, you know what? I could buy a whole new unit with two batteries for about the same price. At least that's how it used to be.
Good Lord. Well, let's get back to the supposition that started this. I agree that it's just a matter of time before the hysterians complain about EV vehicles.
What's going to be their biggest complaint?
Well,
Cost?
they'll seize upon something that fossil fuels are still required to make them or whatever. But really what they are going after, because, again, the mystery is bringing about a different country than the United States currently is. They're really going after the freedom of your movement. What really is in play here is how you should behave. And how you should behave might very well include not being able to get up and go wherever you want, whenever you want, because that speaks too much to the patriarchy of the founding fathers, who even had the nerve to suggest pursuit of happiness.
That's scarier than bleep.
Pursuit of happiness. Let's have pursuit of mediocrity.
It seems to me they're pursuing a kind of a new style of socialism. It's certainly not North Korea.
Right.
And it's not Russia. It's kind of, you could see some similarities between China and the way we want to go, but it seems like it's a whole new hybrid of socialism that they're pursuing, our own kind of special American socialism.
Here's Mike back on the line. Mike Schoonover.
Hey, Joe.
Hi.
So I only have access to a 2021 Audi e-tron. So that is Audi's electric vehicle.
Right.
The labor is only 2.5 hours, which I don't find. I would have to do more research on that. But the part alone, depending on which how many kilowatt or the specific type of battery for the vehicle, list price from Audi is $39,000.
Oh!
That's insane.
That's for the part alone.
Do people know this when they buy that Audi? Are they told when you replace the battery, it's $30,000?
No, 39.
And
39, okay. Wow.
In our world, if a EV gets hit, if it's in a severe collision, it's generally going to get totaled out because there's no way to test if the impact did any damage to the internal components of the battery.
Right.
Wow.
Mike,
And-
thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, wait, don't hang up on him.
And
Go ahead.
shops like myself, I would be very leery of having a wrecked EV towed to my location, just simply because of the risk of fire.
Especially if my car was inside your shop when the EV showed up.
Joe would refuse that EV.
So, Mike,
So we won't let that happen.
I'm reading a piece that you actually sent me from a body shop business called EV Batteries Handling, Disposal, and Storage. And it sounds like you have to have specially trained technicians just to pull the battery out of there. And just because the battery, from what I'm reading, and if this is correct, just because the battery isn't powering the car anymore doesn't mean that it's not charged. Correct?
Yeah. Well, and if that had to be done, I would send it to the dealer, just simply because, we're talking about warranty issues and all kinds of other things. So they're probably better in this particular situation of replacing the drivetrain of an EV. I think they would be better equipped to handle it. So, and what are we going to do? Am I going to get my technicians to be up to date on the Honda EV, the GM EV, the Mercedes, the Porsche, there's so many different EVs out there, and none of them have the same type of setup as far as where they're mounted, how they're mounted. They're not the same.
Right.
So it would be impossible for us to tool up for that and for us to train for that.
Mike,
at this point.
What started this was a repair bill that I saw on social media. Here's the other thing that I didn't realize until just now. This was replaced back, according to this document from this dealership. This was replaced back on August 23rd of 2022. The odometer of this vehicle, 70,489 miles. So you plan on keeping this for a while? Think of the cost over the life expectancy of that vehicle.
And Mike, I'm reading here that if you want to paint a car that's battery powered, it's advisable to remove the whole battery due to the temperature extreme when you're baking that paint. Wow.
Yeah, that's another challenge there. But our fearless leaders, they thought of all that stuff.
Mike, I appreciate your call back. Thank you.
You bet.
Say the weekend temperatures are supposed to be in the 60s and 70s and only passing showers. You know what that means? It's the grilling weather's here. We've had the last of the ice outs. You got to make your grunt run.
I'm grilling tomorrow, baby.
Grilled on my Blackstone. Yep. I made burgers, bacon, and threw a slice of steak on there. Oh. And I can't wait to fire up some rookie burgers on my new Blackstone.
Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats in Hugo on Highway 61 north of Hugo, and Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats in Forest Lake on 97 just east of Interstate 35. This is Minnesota-grown beef for Minnesota's farmers, 140 flavors of brats, town ball meatloaf, rookie burgers. But we've said before, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Anything you want, including fish, right?
Yeah, you got to get over there, though. You have to experience Grunhofer's to experience the overwhelming. You stare at a freezer for about 2 hours because you're trying to decide which brat you're going to pick.
And tomorrow will be busy. Saturdays at Grunhofer are like hanging out at the Knack Hardware and Lounge.
Like Christmas morning. Get
to the Grunhofers. The grilling season is underway, although it's been underway for GLers for quite some time. For you normal people, the grilling season is underway. Get to Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats in Hugo on Highway 61 north of Hugo, and in Forest Lake on Highway 97 east of Interstate 35. Grunhofer's Old Fashioned Meats.
Not a Garage Logic Town Council member? Here's what you're missing.
They texted me, did you make this? No, I did not make it. Okay, they shut the account down. Yesterday, I talked to the lady, and she said, tell me what one of your last purchases was.
Oh, God.
$1.61 at Sam's Club. I got the hot
You went into Sam's Club for $1.61
to buy a bleeping hot dog?
Bleeping hot dog.
It's people like you that are ruining the world. You got to stand in line between this idiot who has to get his card out They got a hot dog.
I started scrolling down, and I did get really embarrassed. I'm like, it was $1.61 at Sam's. I got the hot dog.
Rolled meat log.
$2 on you?
I must not have had any money.
So you parked at Sam's, walked into that giant warehouse, and bought a rolling meat log, and that's it.
It's not an overstated meal for $1.61. It's
What do you get with it?
the fixins.
The fixins.
Go behind the scenes of Garage Logic with unfiltered audio and video access, invites to exclusive events, an emailed newsletter from the mayor himself, and more by signing up at garagelogic.com.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
So yeah, I know. You were walking through the old Save Big Money store looking for a wax ring, and you saw a good-looking safe, and you had a notion, didn't you? Wait, stop. You're not really going to buy a steel box with a fancy paint job from a glorified lumber yard / supermarket, are you? No, you're not. Do yourself a favor. Click on over to maplegrovelockandsafe.com. Take a gander at the Liberty brand of safes. They provide the best protection you can get from calamity. And then stop into Maple Grove Lock and Safe, 6901 East Fish Lake Road. Meet and greet the owner, Rich. He's an easygoing stand-up guy. He'll make sure you go home happy. And by happy, I mean you just bought the best safe ever made, the Liberty safe, and you did it from Rich at Maple Grove Lock and Safe. Forget about buying a generic steel box from anywhere else. Rich and his shop in Maple Grove is the best place in the Midwest to pick up a safe and get lock services. MapleGroveLockandSafe.com.
Let's go through an exercise together.
Okay.
We all know that yesterday the little guy, Fry, gave his State of the City address.
Yes. He sure did.
A couple of weeks ago, Mayor Carter in St. Paul gave his State of the City address. And Mayor Fry wants us to know that Minneapolis is on the mend, right?
Okay.
And I got to thinking, what does that mean to a Mysterian as opposed to what does that mean to us? When a Mysterian says, come on down, my city's great, what does that mean to a Mysterian as opposed to what it might mean to a GLer? For example, Fry would offer as evidence of his city being on the mend that they're tackling housing and homelessness. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'd go along with that. That should be tackled. They're tackling violent crime. Okay, but that's not under control. So I would not offer, as a GLer, I would not offer violent crime reduction as an example of my city being on the mend because that's not true.
Well, that's an answer to conservative questions. And he phrased it in such a manner that he just gave us the percentage that it's down. He didn't give us any real numbers down from how many separate incidents of like, say, gun violence or robbery, down from what to what. He just gives us a percentage. And that's just playing with the numbers, if he's spinning the numbers, if you ask me.
He said there are workers back downtown. Not enough from my point of view.
We don't know that.
You've got big firms moving out. You've got vacancies in the buildings that do exist.
You know what it is when he says things like that? Because you see a lot of that with people that are just simply trying to pretend that something else is going on. And that's what we live in. Mm-hmm. We live in this cycle of, well, we're just going to pretend. We're going to pretend that that person's a woman. We're going to pretend that this doesn't exist. Why is that so difficult?
He offers as another example of the city being on the mend that they're meeting their goals of climate change.
We don't know that.
Well, that's not important because that's a non-factor. There is no, the climate has always changed.
But it is to them.
It is to you because it means a controlling mechanism. It has nothing to do with the environment. Absolutely nothing. Minnetonka went out on this day in 1857 and 2018. Take that for what it's worth. The goals of climate change do not meet my qualifications for a city on the mend. And then finally, city workers, apparently he would wish that city workers be more respected. And okay, I'm all for that.
How are they not being respected right now?
I'm all for that.
Yeah, but why did he pull that out? I mean, that seems like filler material to me.
Yeah. But when a Mysterian is faced with... Here's a Mysterian at the head of a city that as recently as... When was the Final Four in the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl was early February of 2018, and the Final Four was the following April in 2019.
So that's 4 years?
Yeah. Roughly.
As recently as 4 years ago, it was a flourishing city.
But as I said, because I was downtown a lot for the other gig I had, it was starting to deteriorate.
And yes, I'm aware of the ramifications of the pandemic, which really enabled Mysterians to ruin a lot of things. They probably didn't think they were ruining things, but they did. And then the George Floyd summer didn't help. I understand that, and I'm willing to factor that in. But what I view as a thriving city is not what a Mysterian would view as a thriving city. You know, I want lights up across the street at Christmas. I want to be able to walk down the Nicollet Mall without 1 ounce of concern. I want there to be full office buildings of people gainfully employed. I want some more care taken to accommodate motorists who must park downtown.
Do you want kids running in and out of Target with garbage bags full of merchandise?
No, I don't want that.
Okay.
I want a Target store where mom goes in with the 2 kids and feels comfortable shopping for school supplies or whatever. I don't want what the Mysterians want. I don't want... I don't know. Well, I don't want what they want. I don't know what they want. What do they want? Because this is what he came up with. And he's caught between a rock and a hard place because he probably is smart enough to know that he has to offer a functioning city that's attractive to people that the mystery compels him to reject. Follow me now.
Okay.
He has to offer a city that's attractive to the people that the mystery compel him to turn his back on. In other words, rich people.
The people paying the bills.
He has to turn his back on people who achieve.
Yep.
He has to turn his back on people who are maintaining nice properties.
Home ownership.
He has to turn his back on home ownership because that goes against the grain. Private property is a staple of the Mysterian mystery.
White patriarchy.
He has to turn his back on patriarchy. We've noted before there is no more brotherhood in Minneapolis. The brotherhood, however loosely defined it might have been, were guys or gals who could go to a mayor and say, look, X isn't working and B is, let's fix this. Those people don't go to the mayor anymore. The people who go to the mayor are single interest people, trans activists, equity activists, you name it. And routinely, because they're not schooled in competitiveness and entrepreneurship, cities like Minneapolis continue to fail in even accommodating the mystery aspirations. For example, this black event at the convention center about a month ago, a black job expose or a black entrepreneurship expose, and the woman they put in place screwed it up. The money wasn't there. They couldn't pull it off. So they're not even pulling off that which they approve of themselves pulling off. So where does a guy like that go? Well, he stands behind a podium, barely visible above it.
Like Kilroy.
He should stand on an apple crate or something. And he comes up with, well, we're tackling violent crime. We're bringing workers back downtown. We're handling climate change. We're all uninterested in that, sir. That's not what makes a city. Safety makes a city, and that horse left the barn.
Would he have done that? Because the first thought I had was, would he have done that had we not had that arrest federally a couple of days ago?
That's a good point. That certainly helps him reinforce that.
But it had nothing to do with the mayor or anything statewide or even locally. That was a federal operation.
And I know when Mayor Carter has had his State of the State, it was attended primarily by city workers. Well, there's a great dichotomy there. There's a great paradox that basically he was addressing the needs of the public to the needs of the public class.
Right.
And again, Carter has been ingrained in the ideology that I'm not paying attention to the people who pay the bills. I'm not paying attention to families with children. I'm not paying attention to properties well maintained. I'm not paying attention to any of that because my focus is to bring about equity, and I do that by ignoring those who actually produce and am attempting to funnel their production to the people who don't. Well, that's not an interesting city.
Right.
No, and he talks in, he doesn't give specifics.
So what's a mayor? So Fry, none of what you said appeals to anybody except maybe the handful of people who showed up for your remarks.
No. They didn't show up. It was 200 people. And they were all invited.
Oh.
It was invite only.
Okay.
And this paragraph I'm about to read to you is just hysterical.
All right.
It was live streamed on the city website, but Fry received a standing ovation from the assembled crowd, which included elected officials, civic leaders, and community activists who were essentially handpicked by the mayor's office.
There you go. That is not the sign of a successful city.
Right.
And Fry knows that. I'm convinced he's not that stupid.
He's smarter than that.
Is affordable housing, and I'm serious, I don't know anymore. I just don't know anymore. Is affordable housing a euphemism for projects?
Yes.
Where bad things happen?
Yes.
Well, he was giving the speech from new projects.
Right. And what you should always keep in mind when you use the phrase affordable housing is affordable for whom? He's not talking about making it affordable for you. He's making it affordable for people. Well, and then Biden chips in by helping, because if you're an achiever, you'll pay a higher mortgage rate so that money can be funneled to the people who don't have any money. There was nothing in this fellow's remarks that would indicate and then I read the comments on the story, and he's got a constituency, because there was quite a few comments who say only right-wingers say Minneapolis doesn't work. Well, they don't come downtown. Well, whoever said that completely misses the point and doesn't even understand what the mystery is. The mystery is bringing about 10 years from now, if we keep going the way we're going, Minneapolis will not exist.
Nope.
It will not exist. It will not exist as a center of commerce.
It's not existing in that way right now.
It will not exist as a gathering place. It will not exist as the center of culture and arts. None of that will happen. None. And then I have to be somewhat objective here. I'm trying to be fair. Cities are changing. People can work at home, and there's a variety of reasons why downtowns per se are no longer the center of commerce, because companies can get better deals on property maybe in the suburbs, and that's where they build their office building, and on and on and on. There's many reasons for that. But generally speaking, the city of Minneapolis in 4 years, time, has become a no-go zone compared to what it used to be. Mm-hmm. And Minneapolis, St. Paul, the same. There's really... St. Paul is a very dystopian cityscape on a cold Friday night.
And here we are. We're a little over 3 weeks away from Memorial Day weekend. We're going to know a lot about what the future holds in the next coming months, because if we all know what happens in downtown when it starts to get warm out, that's when the real crime starts to surface.
Well, you might shoot fireworks at each other.
Yeah, but like what happened last year.
Innocent bystanders. So what was your original question again? Because I still don't think I can answer it. Your quiz to us.
The exercise we're playing is, what does a thriving city mean to a Mysterian?
Free
because
stuff.
They don't even want... Thriving cities are an example of that which they're opposed to. They're opposed to patriarchy. They're opposed to convention. They're opposed to the history of how the city got built. They're opposed to too much whiteness running things. They're opposed to everything thriving cities stand for. And certainly black entrepreneurs can participate in making a city thriving. They'd be opposed to them.
They would say... what's happening right now is thriving. Well, look at what we're doing. They're always touting the success.
We're going to have a free taste of Minnesota on the Nicollet Mall.
Come here and raise your kids for free. We're offering free this and free that. That to them speaks that we're thriving.
Well, let's continue to explore this in a moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how about you know what?
Do tell.
Does it make you thirsty?
Ice water. That's free.
What the hell?
I'm a connoisseur of ice water.
And you want the best, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And that is my friends at Hofferman Water. I had my Connecticut system installed a couple of years ago, and then we moved. And the first thing my wife said is, you better get on the phone with Hofferman, because that new water system, that's coming with us. So here's what we did. We made the call, and we got on the schedule. That's what you should do right now. Get on the schedule. It's springtime, Ruck. Springtime is here.
It's the season.
It is the season. So get in touch with my friends at Hofferman Water and get that new... Treat yourself. Come on now. Treat yourself to some brand new water. Whether you're in the mood for a water softener, an iron rust or odor filtration system, or a brand new drinking water system, Hofferman Water is here for you. They've been servicing the great state of Minnesota for over 50 years, and they're the best in the business. 952-894-4040. That's the phone number, 952-894-4040. Or visit their website, HoffermanWater.com. If you go on their website, you can see every single system that they have available to you and your family. Bad water's terrible, but they can fix it. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Tell them you heard about them here on the Garage Logic Podcast.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Nothing better than something that makes our lives better and a lot easier, and that's what Seafoam does for us. Just one easy way we can stay ahead of issues and calamity, motor-related with Seafoam. It helps your engine run longer and run cleaner. It's just a great way to stay ahead. It helps everything run better. It's safe. It's easy. You can use it in all types of engines, cars, trucks. And as for using it, just open it up, pour it in, boom, done, easy. Give it a little bit, give it a whole can. Depends on how much you use it. You be the judge. And you can pick it up everywhere. Convenience stores, auto stores, grocery stores, bait shops. Truly a wonderful product in a world of bad gas, Seafoam.
Okay, I thought of something else that might be helpful in this exercise. What, in the eyes of a Mysterian, constitutes a successful or thriving city? Another way to look at this is, what do we, meaning GLers, what do we have in common with the people who run our cities? Rook, read me start listing me the members of the Minneapolis City Council.
Ward 1, Elliot Payne.
Okay, I don't know anything about Elliot Payne. I want you to look that up in a moment. Who's
Okay.
number 2?
Ward 2, Robin Wansley.
Okay, I predict I have nothing in common with Robin Wansley.
Okay.
Number 3,
Ward 3 is Michael Rainville.
I'd have to look him up. Number 4,
Latricia Vitaw.
I have something in common with Latricia Vitaw.
Wow.
But
Okay.
she whatever it is, she gets it.
Okay.
All right. So far, that's the only one I have something in common with.
5 is Jeremiah Ellison.
Nothing in common with Jeremiah Ellison.
All right. Ward 6, Jamal Osman.
Nothing in common with Jamal Osman.
Ward 7, Lisa Goodman.
Unlikely.
Ward 8, Andrea Jenkins.
Nothing in common with Andrea
Are you
Jenkins.
sure?
Yeah.
Ward 9 is Jason Chavez.
Probably nothing.
Okay. Ward 10, Aisha Shugtai.
Absolutely nothing in common with her.
Ward 11, Emily Koski.
Don't know.
Ward 12, Andrew Johnson.
Don't know.
Ward 13, Linnea Palmisano.
Don't know. And the mayor I have nothing in common with. Now, if you could, Rook.
I can.
Can you find out how many of the city council members have children?
Okay, I will do that.
That'll take you a while, so
It's
I'll
okay.
keep talking and you look for it.
I'll let my little fat fingers run the numbers.
So when I say what do we have in common, I know more closely the St. Paul City Council members and the St. Paul City Mayor. The mayor has children. The mayor of St. Paul has children, so we would have that in common. But when I look at the city council, I don't have anything in common with them. I like cars. I like golf. How many city council members in Minneapolis and St. Paul are anticipating the fishing opener, for example?
That's funny. Not one.
I like unfettered ability to move on my own, so I would not be the fan they are of public transportation, although, as I've always said on the show, I'm a big fan of public transportation where it makes sense. It doesn't make sense here, and it's fallen into ruin, criminal ruin. It's essentially a free service, and until they install turnstiles and enforce security and force you to pay to ride it, it'll never work. But I basically have nothing in common with the political class who runs the cities closest to the country's tallest buildings. Mm-hmm. I have nothing in common with them.
Nope. And you're not alone. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier. None of us are represented well.
And so...
In fact, you could even say the vast majority of us are not represented well with that same thinking.
Nor are we federally.
Nope. Nope.
Thus, the great divide in the country. The biggest distinction, I would guess, is raising families.
Yeah, I think.
Well, right now we're 0 for 2.
Okay.
But if you move on, you can go ahead and skip Rainville, Matt. I'm looking at his bio right now.
Go ahead.
He's been married 32 years, proud of their son, Michael. He's a history columnist. Michael Rainville, that is a fifth generation to live in Northeast Minneapolis, graduated from De La Salle, received a degree in marketing from St. Thomas, and started his career in the hospitality industry before joining the Minneapolis Convention and Visitors Association, where he was part of the team that built the hospitality industry in Minneapolis to, a big deal.
Then he would have a lot in common with us.
Yes.
He would want, to him, possibly, a flourishing city would be a full convention center with people coming to town and booking hotel rooms.
Right. So, yeah.
Isn't he the one, Kenny, that the mayor, I don't know if you guys saw the mayor's press conference, isn't he standing behind him?
I don't know.
I thought he was when he was talking about the taste of the 4th of July specifically.
You would think he'd be involved in something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Michael Rainville, I'm rooting for you to see the light. What we're learning at the state level is not one single DFLer, even out state, has broken ranks with the Mysterian DFLers from the urban core who are running things.
Nope.
But I find that puzzling. Why somebody from up Kenny's way, for example, who's a DFLer, wouldn't be able to put the brakes on once in a while and say, no, I'm not voting for that.
Doesn't make sense,
That doesn't
right?
make sense
That's
for
what
my
I want.
people. Doesn't make sense for the people I represent. I'm not voting for that. We have nothing in common, or very few instances of having something in common. What I would have in common with Rainville is that, okay, we both have children, both went to similar schools. He's interested in a flourishing, I would think I'm not off base saying he would be interested in a flourishing business climate. I can't believe that Andrea Jenkins has any reason to be enthusiastic for a flourishing business climate. She would certainly accept it, but I can't imagine she would do anything to encourage it. She'd be no children, I would imagine.
Well, we're getting to her. I'm on Osmond right now in Ward 6.
Yeah.
And I'm looking.
I'm looking at Goodman. Doesn't say anything about a family, but obviously she's been a professional politician for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she worked for Wellstone.
Right.
She enjoys gardening, hiking, antiquing, spending time at her farmhouse in rural Minnesota.
Oh, she has 2 homes, huh?
Evidently.
Yeah.
Business is good.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Kenny got Goodman.
All right.
I'm on Jenkins right now. I'll read it to you.
You can skip
No,
Jenkins.
yeah, Jeremiah
There's no-
Ellison, all I could find about him is he likes to paint.
Oh.
He's a painter. He's an artist.
Like paint the garage, or
No, he pictures
His
on
bio
walls.
makes no mention of a family.
No.
Ellison.
No.
There were a couple of them. Ward 2 Wansley, no mention of a family.
There isn't one. Chugati, I bet no.
I'm getting to her.
family.
Osmond, wife and 5 kids.
Really?
Yeah, Jamal Osmond. So
Okay, we got the kids in
he's
common.
got a
He must
family.
be Catholic, huh?
Probably.
No, actually, I don't think he is from
don't think so
appearance.
Ward 4 Vitaw, she mentions that she has a husband.
Yeah, I've met her and her husband.
Have you met the energetic fur baby Bobby?
No, boy,
So
you
no
disappoint
kids?
me there, Latricia.
Yeah.
Fur baby. What the hell is that?
Oh, that they all use that.
I know. Okay. Let's boil it down even further. I wonder what role having children plays in how you would have an outlook on a flourishing city.
Well, schools, you have an intimate connection with kindergarten and junior and senior high and middle school.
And 75% of the teachers in St. Paul fear for their safety on a daily basis. The schools aren't safe.
I think you might be wrong about Osmond not having anything in common. Because don't you also
I said it, we did have something in common.
But don't you also have a wife who is connected to a feeding the children scam? Like Osmond's
Yes,
wife?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we ever unearth? Did that ever go anywhere?
Oh, they're still looking at it.
Oh, we're investigating
We're all
it
right.
still. Okay, gotcha.
Andrew Johnson has a kid.
Okay.
He lives over in the Howe neighborhood with his wife and son.
Okay.
For fun, he likes to rock climb. Take his dog Rosie to the Minnehaha off-leash area and bicycle around the city's great trails. He reads mostly nonfiction and likes to spend time with friends.
Well, you're touching on something else that I find interesting. The extracurricular hobbies of Mysterians would be the cheapest possible hobbies.
Going for a walk.
Rock climbing, gardening.
Playing with your dog.
Staring at a tree.
Outdoors, yes.
You know.
Staring at a tree.
Things you can do while stoned.
I feel like I'm playing the pyramid game.
No, but they wouldn't involve, buying equipment to golf or
Playing
having
baseball.
having a fishing rig,
Right.
With
Snowmobiling.
Snowmobiling.
Yeah.
You're right. They wouldn't have that. They would not be interested in car shows.
Oh.
They wouldn't be interested. Now, as recently, it isn't that recent. I can't remember the last time, but Rook will remember. that on Saturday nights in downtown St. Paul, there was a car show on Kellogg Boulevard.
Yeah, outside
the hotel. And it would go all up and down Kellogg.
Yep.
And sometimes where it was really flourishing, it would be all over downtown. That was 10, 15 years ago. That's never going to happen again, ever.
That's sad.
Boy, it almost sounds like you're describing my dad's life, where they would cruise Lake Street,
Well, the
cruise
kids used to,
Hennepin,
yeah.
and cruise University.
Those days
and
are
just
done.
over and over and over again. University, Lake, Hennepin, just do laps all night
the
long.
failed academy has done a bang-up job of disabusing the modern kid of the automobile. I've told you this 1,000 times. I'm old enough to remember, and Kenny's dad is certainly old enough to remember, when a high school parking lot was a car show.
Yeah.
It was a car show.
Yeah.
And today, these kids they think it's a pain in the ass to drive mom's minivan to school.
Well, you know what?
They don't care if they own a car.
My kid went to Roosevelt, and they actually had a few car shows there.
Okay, that's rare.
And that would have been, 2000. What the hell date is it? This is 2018, 2015, and there were some pretty cool hot rods, and they were the kids' cars, but they had a really, really good automotive course there.
Oh,
both
cool.
Both body shop
I wonder if
and
it
engines.
still exists.
I would hope so, because it was really, really cool, and there were a lot of really talented young men and women working out of those shops, high schoolers.
Was it independent, Kenny, or did it have an
No,
affiliation with Dunwoody?
I don't. You know what? I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay,
I'm done.
Yep. And what do you got, Rook? What's your report?
13. Well, I'm gonna
13
work backwards.
ward seats.
Yes. Ward 13, Linnea Palmisano, no mention of family. Kenny covered Johnson with 12. Koski, 11, no mention of family. Shugtai, number 10, no mention of a family. Chavez, number 9, no mention of a family. We already did Jenkins and Goodman.
There's no family with Jenkins.
Yep. And Goodman was...
We have no mention of a family.
No mention of a family. And then Osmond, 5 kids. Ellison, no family mention. 4 was Vita with the fur baby.
That's not a kid.
We know.
That's a really hairy kid.
We knew about Rainville. Kenny covered Rainville. Wansley, number 2, no mention. And number 1, Payne mentions a wife and a Chinese crested Miami. Must be a cat or a dog. No kids.
So total kids and 13 seats.
5. And how many did Rainville have?
1.
6 kids.
6 kids and 13 seats.
And well, now in their defense, Joe, there's a chance they might be protecting their privacy.
Fine, and I also
say as a husband and 3 kids, though this is your bio.
Fine, and I also want to understood that I don't care if it's not my business whether you have kids or not.
We're just looking for something that
I'm
we
looking
share
for
in common.
commonality.
Yeah.
Because much of what's done in the interest of bringing the mystery about does not take children into consideration. Depriving mom of her parking spot on her residential street to put a bump out for bicyclists is not taking the mother's children into account, the mother who just got deprived of her parking spot. She's got to pile the kids into the car to take them to softball and Target and drop them off at school. Now she doesn't have her parking spot. Why doesn't she have it? Because the Mysterians would weigh in favor of a cyclist more than they would a mom with kids.
Right.
Now, the cyclist could have kids, don't get me wrong, but the cyclist just trumped mom with the kids who has a car.
And so what does that mom do who can't find a parking spot on Bryant because of the bump outs? She takes the easy way out, and you can't blame her. She goes down to Target on Cedar and 66th Street, where there's plenty of parking, and she can run in there.
Yep.
So local businesses suffer because of the bump outs and the traffic calming and the bike nonsense. Mm-hmm. You're right. There's no respect for parents with kids.
Much of what's done does not take... What mother right now would take her children on light rail?
Oh, God, no.
No one.
Hell no.
Well, unless you were in, dire straits. I mean, that's the only reason you would do it. But no, nobody with the right mind would take their children.
You notice,
on light
Fry
rail.
didn't mention light rail crime stats because they, in fact, are still going up.
Skyrocketing.
Fry, by the way, has a child, if not more than one.
One child.
One child,
Yes.
yeah. Rook, what do you have to tell me?
I was going to tell you all about the Minnesota Masonic Charities.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Excellent. And you heard me a couple of weeks ago tell you about the scholarship program that they have. It's one of the largest private scholarship granting organizations in the state of Minnesota. That's very impressive. Minnesota Masonic Charities are very proud to support the young people of Minnesota, the young people that are really putting in effort. And these aren't euphorians. These are kids that are future garage logicians. This year they launched a brand new scholarship program, unlike anything that you've ever seen. It's called the Selfless Scholar. The way the program works is instead of inviting students to apply for scholarship based on their own achievements, the scholarship encourages young people to look beyond themselves, recognize the kindness and selflessness of their fellow students. And after receiving just a bunch of great stories, MMC has finalized the recipients for 2023. And over the next several weeks, I'm going to be letting you in on some of those stories. The other cool thing is there's 15 scholarships, $5,000 scholarships that are split between the nominator and the nominee, thereby awarding both the person who took the time to write the story and the person whose story got the attention of a peer. Looking forward to giving you some of those stories. If you'd like to learn more about the program, it's a great scholarship program. Check them out online, mnmasoniccharities.org. That's mnmasoniccharities.org.
The Tri-State Bobcat sale on the Toro Time Cutter zero-turn mower continues all the way through May. Listen to the prices of some of these amazing machines. The 42-inch Time Cutter zero-turn, $2,999. What a great price. If you don't have a huge yard, that is your baby. The 50-inch Toro Time Cutter, $3,499. And the big one, the Jewel, the Ace, the 60-inch Titan zero-turn Max, Titan Max, with My Ride, $6,499. That My Ride. I know you've heard me say it before, but that suspension, the whole deck floats. It's just amazing. It really tames rough terrain. You combine that with the Kawasaki engines. They're so powerful and reliable. And then the Toro design and build makes maintaining and cleaning the units very easy. It's simple. Everything is easy to get to, easy access for everything. It's just wonderful designs. When you go to Tri-State Bobcat and start examining the Toro Time Cutters, you're going to see why they are the leader in the industry. Check them out. 3 locations in the Metro, Burnsville, Little Canada, and Hudson. And if you're anywhere near Owatonna, slip into Mankeys. They're part of the Tri-State family. Oh, and the website. I almost forgot. TriStateBobcat.com.
The song.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jeez.
Nice throat. What's the matter with your voice?
Monday night, all of a sudden, out of the ether, it appeared, and it started with a little nose runny and a little tingle, and I said, where you been for 5 years? And, then I was sicker than hell for 2 days, and then I'm feeling okay, but I was left with ricey throat.
Usually that's an October situation.
Well, but spring and fall were the key times. I had a terrible in the spring a few times, too.
Yeah.
You don't got the COVIDs, though, do you? No COVIDs?
No, I did the home test, although the home test she got now, I have no faith in. The ones before where you just put the little dribble on there and then either turn 2 lines or 1, that was easy. This one looked stupid, so maybe I know it's not the COVID, though.
She's got to quit buying them at the dollar store.
When you got sent to that whorehouse when you were a kid, was that? Well, you know what I mean. Was that was that for speech lessons?
Yes, it was supposed to teach me to speak out of my diaphragm because
thank you for saying diaphragm. I appreciate that.
Because I always because I spoke about it. But I didn't pay much attention to the lessons because these women were running around in lingerie.
You went to a cat house for lessons.
Yeah.
Most people would say. Most people say you speak out of your backside, Patrick.
Yes, right. That's true. That is true. I do that.
I do have a sports observation.
First, I want to mention this. I looked up the Chris Rock Tussin original thing today because I was taking Tussin. And, he said the old man said put Tussin on it. He was saying some stuff 15 years ago that he would never get away with. They'd never cure anything. These doctors, Jerry Lewis, I've been watching Jerry Lewis for 15 years. They haven't cured anybody yet. Come on, get one of these kids a stick, stand them up. He said, come on. He said, get George Lucas in there, do some special effects. Jerry, he was saying stuff he'd never get away with.
Joe, before you go, I need some advice from Reusse. I too am on the Tussin right now. Can you just drink that liberally? I mean, is there a dosage? Because I've just been hitting it a couple of times an hour.
Drinking it on ice.
Add some orange juice, a splash of cranberry.
God.
Maybe that's why I didn't sleep last night. I was too much Tussin.
I think Tussin will help you sleep. That's the problem. I'm afraid if I take too much Tussin, I'll just nod off in the chair. I got some stuff I got to do. So, but damn, I was so happy for 5 years without this thing, and now here it is again. I just don't have my normal singing voice.
Right.
The people love to enjoy so much. It's kind of gone. So,
Who is Bill Zito?
God, I don't have any idea.
He's the GM of the Florida Panthers, my new favorite team in hockey. What the hell has he put together there?
I don't know. How come they finished 8th?
I know.
How come they were 8th? No, they were good like a couple of years ago. Didn't they?
I think they won a cup.
They either won a cup or got to the final.
Florida won a cup, Rook. I think they did. And the coach is Paul Maurice. They've now won 2 straight in Toronto, which is cataclysmic for Canada.
Oh, God. They got to be just terrible, feeling terrible up there, don't they?
Yeah.
Because they beat the good Florida team, the Lightning, the one that everybody was afraid of. Then these guys, they don't care. They just go out there and beat anybody.
It is amazing.
It is. I was watching the end of that Boston Game 7, and when they scored with a minute to go, I turned down the sound, and I could hear the puckering from my living room.
Right.
Every rectum in that building went.
Yep. Tightened up. She tightened up on him. Yeah.
Slammed shut.
They were too tight, Rook. They were too tight.
That's what Gil would say.
These guys are too tight. That's why the guy's getting hurt over there.
The GM is a guy named Bill Zito.
Wow. And, he's been stuck out there in that god-awful arena out by the interstate
They're in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, they're out in the jungle. And they, with a lot of years, people, they've been good now for 3-4 years. Maybe they're getting crowds now. I'm sure they're getting crowds now.
No Stanley Cups, but one conference championship in 95-96.
Oh, okay.
Really? That far back?
They're not even close to Miami. They're at Fort Lauderdale practically.
Yeah, they are. They're, when I used to go see the grandkids up in Bonita, not Bonita. Boca. We drive by that place out there, stuck out in the middle of nowhere, a little strip mall shopping.
Sunrise, Florida.
There was a great video that I saw this morning. It says, things are going well in Toronto, and it's 2 30-year-old guys drunk as hell leaving the arena.
Yeah.
And all they're saying is, we're losing a bunch of guys from Key West.
Yeah.
Like the players on the team are actually from that area.
God, they are so happy that they finally got out of the first round for the first time since 2004. And then they said, and we get, they were chanting, "We want Florida." That was in the Tampa Bay game. They were champion, with sarcastic chant because they want the Brewers. And now they got them, and there's nothing they can do about it. And the thing about them is if they get outplayed, the goalie will just save them anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. It's a long way from the Wild playing hockey. I'll tell you that. It's just amazing to watch the difference. It really is.
They just are pressing the action all the time. I think when there's no fear, because why should there be? You're the 8th seed.
Right.
You just go out there and you're having fun, enjoying the other team's misery. And now, of course, Toronto gets the away ice advantage that there is in hockey now. It's unbelievable how many games the road team wins.
I have a theory. I can offer as evidence the success of the Tampa Bay Club, and now I can offer it as the success of the Florida Panther Club. Those guys that live there are in no hurry to get to a lake. They've had it all year round.
Yeah, that's right.
They got warm weather.
They like being in the cold arena in the summer because it's 88 and humid there by now.
Florida comes to Minnesota to play the Wild in January, and it's a lark because they know they're flying right back to Florida.
Yeah. Do you know that the stat, I believe, was in the first round, 19 out of 50, the home teams won. The road teams won 31 out of 50, I think it was.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
Look at Seattle.
Yeah.
Second year of an existence. They're out playing the Wild, who've been here since 1942.
Well, I was thinking it was the same as the Wild's first run, but that was they've done it a year sooner.
Right.
The Wild run was the third year.
Right.
2003 seems a long time ago, doesn't it? But only because it is.
Remember, Pat, 100 years ain't what it used to be.
That's right. There's a philosophy that you've come up with that I've now adopted. That's a good idea.
Oh, man. Are you, you had to be,
our Twins?
Oh, you had to be pleased with that effort yesterday.
The Twins?
Yeah.
The White Sox carried them to another. The White Sox had 9 chances to win that game but never won it. Meanwhile, the Twins get 7 runs and 5 hits.
Yep.
2 games before, they got 3 hits. They can't hit.
No.
I think they're too tight.
They're too tight.
That is too tight. Like that Bauer guy, 7.
Gil, he's retired for a few years.
That's why he hadn't got no hits lately.
Too tight. I tell you who's too tight is Trevor Warnick. God almighty.
Yeah.
He doesn't even get a foul ball. He struck out 10 out of 12, and he hasn't touched. You know, Sano used to always start off with a foul ball. Then he'd miss 2. This guy misses all 3 of them.
Oh, I forgot to mention this to you guys because I listened to the game yesterday on my way home on the radio. And Gladden had an all-time Gladden line the other day. I think this was the series that they were in when they were in Boston. And Provis is going through Gladden's stats of playing at Fenway Park because apparently he hit very well at Fenway Park. And then he says the stats of the last game, and Gladden says, that ain't too bad on 3 hours of sleep.
So TK let him play a day game, too.
He probably needed him that day because he was, 5 for 8.
For that very reason, TK missed 40 day games a year with TK.
Who did,
He
Laddie?
thought he could he had 2 choices, change his habits or just adjust to it. He decided to adjust.
Oh, he said that, and I just started cackling in the car. That was so damn funny.
Yes. I think those 2 get along pretty well now, but there couldn't be 2 more different guys on the planet than Provis and him. Provis is like the gentlemanly family man, and glad he's still a crazy SOB. So.
Well, I hope you feel better, lad.
I don't feel bad, but my voice is horrible. And when I talk to you Monday, it'll be the same.
All right.
We're in this for 2 weeks now.
All right.
Well, I gotta add. What are we adding to the list of things you don't like? Remind me.
He doesn't like the word dystopia.
Oh yeah, dystopia.
I like it. I use it. It's a good word.
You use dystopia?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, you're like Rook. That's a bleep you word.
Yeah, that's a. If you say that word, bleep
That's a
you.
bleep word.
Yeah.
I know those guys in diner wouldn't have liked the word dystopia.
No, that's true.
All right.
Are you off to a Byerly's?
I don't know where I am. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay. Just
See you later. You're at home, Pat. That's where you were. We'll be right back with a scramble.
I'm just going to pretend he didn't hear me.
Right.
Hey, GLers. This is Pete Arnold from Hire a Pro. You know, the company that helps you be your own contractor so you can make the roofing company profits instead of the roofing company? I've got Chrissy here. So, Chrissy, why are you in my commercial?
You helped me replace my roof.
How did that go?
It went great. You educated us on how everything worked, showed us behind the curtain, so to speak. And after our $25,000 roof was replaced, we walked away with almost $6,000 for the work we put in.
And what work was that?
Well, we got the permit and we picked the color. Hire Pro handled everything else. You did a great job, and I'm not even being paid to say that. If anyone's listening and has a storm damage claim, call them. Don't hire a roofer, hire a pro.
That's awesome. I appreciate the kind words, and I think you just made up our new motto. All right, Joe, you're up.
So if insurance has approved your roof replacement, give these guys a call at 651-402-3400 or visit them online at hire.pro. That's hire, and then put the dot there, pro.
He's going to the dollar store.
Yes, sir.
Get some fish.
Get some meat.
Get some, what did you get, oysters? We got oysters.
Oh, yeah, we got
frozen.
Didn't Pat eat them?
No, Reusse made him throw them away.
I thought Pat eat them.
Throw them outside.
He wouldn't even let you throw them in the bin.
The ride. I don't want to smell that all.
It's the scramble.
I think I've had too much tussin.
Oh,
that can happen.
I'm worried about you.
Yeah, it's the scramble with tussin today. What was I going to do, Chris?
You were going to tell us about the fine folks over at professionalturf.com.
Well, you want the best yard on the block. There's your answer right there. They've been around since '82. But if you want to make it really good, you want to fix up that stinky backyard or make something special out front. Pro Turf's landscaping division, they can do that. They can work with you. You tell them what you're dreaming about. They're actually going to show it. They're going to make your dreams a reality. It was some sort of computer voodoo-y, is that a word? And you'll see what the final results will be before they even shove a shovel in the ground. And they specialize in virtually everything landscaping related. Whatever you can dream up, professionalturf.com, they can do it. Oh, and you know what else? Irrigation. Not only can they service the one you have, they can wake it up, put it to bed, and they can put them in. It's just an all-around great company. The best lawn in the neighborhood, amazing landscaping. You can see all their work at professionalturf.com.
Only because they come to us all the way from Fernandina, the Villages, Florida, from the traveling Lymans at worldwidewaftage.com. And maybe the website's worth checking based on what I've heard about the Villages, if you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean.
On this day in 1880...
Joe, today is Cinco de Mayo.
Lightning struck the Faribault Gas Works.
I remember this.
Were you around
in
1880?
No.
Destroying 1,000 gallons of naphtha used to power the city's gas lights.
But we learned about this.
I bet. On this day in 1884, Charles Albert Chief Bender was born in Brainerd. The Ojibwe pitcher would be the first Minnesotan inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He would pitch in 5 World Series for the Philadelphia Athletics, and his career record was 212 and 127.
Wow.
Impressive.
On this day,
Joe, today's May 5th.
In 1973, Father Frank Perkovich celebrated Minnesota's first polka mass at Resurrection Catholic Church in Eveleth. Drawing on his Slovenian and Croatian roots, Perkovich had arranged traditional folk music and adapted hymns in English, bringing the polka mass to the Iron Range and later celebrating it in venues around the world.
I don't want her. You can have her. She's too fat for me.
No, I don't think they did that.
That was the opening number.
Do they still do that? I would love to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
really?
they do.
Sure.
Cool.
On this day On this day,
May 5th.
in 1974, in the heart in the Heart of the Beast Puppet Theater presented its first Minneapolis May Day parade. Part peaceful protest, part carnival, the parade has become a South Minneapolis tradition occurring every year on the first Sunday of May, which means it's this Sunday, and that could be offered as an example of what Mysterians think would be the sign of a flourishing city, a puppet parade.
What year was that?
1974.
I remember that because exactly 1 year later, May 5th, 1975, and we don't do birthdays, but my sister Maria was born.
Puppets give me anxiety.
Okay.
I don't like puppets. I want to rip them right off the hand and just start flogging.
I did a beautiful eagle's wing with a puppet just a couple weeks ago.
I want to start flogging the puppeteer with their puppet.
Oh.
I kind of know what Kenny means.
Are you sure you're not confusing them with marionettes?
Well, the same thing, isn't it?
Close enough. Those I just want to snip the strings.
They're off-putting.
Yeah, they really are.
Well, it's a craft. I mean,
that Elmo
you guys
thing.
Don't respect the craft.
I would like to tear Elmo from.
Hello.
Yeah, limb to limb.
Don't be mad to Elmo. Hey, but in all seriousness, that's an example of what the mystery would point out to be a sign of a thriving city. This cheap-ass puppet parade.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's beautiful, and I hope it's wonderful. But
it's great.
Again, I don't think it would be very expensive.
Do they have rated X puppet shows?
Yes. Yeah, for you they do. You have to go to one of those places on the freeway.
Puppets are just smashing each other all day long.
Yeah,
on this day, May 5th, 1985, 38 years ago, Joe.
Yeah.
My future bride took me on our first date to a Twins game at the Metrodome. Our first date 38 years ago.
Only some sap would remember that.
They played Baltimore. Baltimore beat the Twins.
Joe, I remember our first date.
Yeah.
It involved a whole hell of a lot of tequila.
Probably don't remember how it ended.
And a wobbly drive back to my apartment.
Yeah. Well, GLers, you have a great weekend.
Yeah, that was some date, all right.
We'd like to know what
cow, these are real.
We'd like to know. These don't say I need help on aisle 5, do they?
No.
Real fun.
Not yet. We'd like to know what your plans are for the weekend, but it's none of our business.
Take it away, Polka Boy.
I don't want to go to Pod Ammon right now. No, I do. Actually, I do, because I want to find out one of the beautiful, entertaining, educating podcasts that are out there that you don't even know of yet, but they're all in their library at Pod MN on your smartphone. Yesterday, I was poking around the Garage Logic YouTube page that you can subscribe to, and you will go down the rabbit hole because some of the stuff on there is fantastic, and you'll be reminded of how great the show used to be so many years ago. So subscribe to Garage Logic on YouTube. And then go to GarageLogic.com. And this is serious. You want to sign up for the Garage Logic Town Council for $10 a year or $10 a month or $100 a year. You can be entertained unbelievably. Well, oh, by the way, plus you get a $10 Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Store gift card when you sign up.